"Remember," his mother said as she stalked across the room, holding her head high and staring at him expectantly, "you only get one chance to make a first impression." Balor fiddled with his necktie, which was made of a silky cornflower blue material. "First impression, Mom? Really? I've known Uncle Magnus my whole life." "No," his mother sniped. "You have not." She prowled to the edge of the carpet, then turned right before she rammed into the corner of the couch. When she whipped back toward him, her brilliant green eyes were sparkling with malice. "You might have been close to your uncle and cousins when you were a wee babe, but it has been a long time since you've seen any of them." Balor gave up on fussing with his tie and instead ran his hands through his thick locks of coal-black hair. "I'm thankful to Uncle Magnus for this opportunity, Mom." He paused and eyed her in the mirror that hung just to the right of the door. "And I don't know why you can't muster the same sense of gratitude." "Gratitude?" His mother spat out the word as if it was bitter and had left an unpleasant taste in her mouth. "I'll never forget what Magnus Kane did to your father and us all those years ago, and—" "You need to forget," Balor said, rounding on her and moving forward to block her path. "And you need to forgive him, too. Whatever passed between Uncle Magnus and Dad happened a long time ago, and the passage of time does not excuse his behavior," his mother said, lifting her chin haughtily. "It's because of Magnus Kane that we find ourselves in our current lowly state, and—" "No," Balor replied gently, not wanting to agitate his mother too greatly. "We both know that Dad made a series of bad decisions all on his own." He sighed in a beleaguered fashion. "If the heart attack hadn't taken him from us so suddenly, maybe he'd have been able to right the ship eventually, but—" "If his little brother hadn't abandoned him," Margaret argued, speaking over top of her son, which annoyed Balor supremely, "we'd never have found ourselves in this predicament." He inhaled slowly, then said in a brusque whisper, "Uncle Magnus didn't abandon Dad. He loaned him the money to get the business started all those years ago, and we were prosperous for a long time. If Dad didn't take out all those loans right before the end, we'd still be thriving." "But we're not," his mother snapped acidly. "Are we?" She huffed with indignation. "We've had to resort to this." She waved her hand, gesturing to his neat black suit. "You had to grovel at your uncle's feet and beg him to give you a job in the corporation your father helped him build." Balor shook his head slowly. "We both know that Granddad built Kanedy Productions and Dad left when—" "That's not the point, is it?" Margaret lectured. Her eyes narrowed so that they looked like small, round marbles. "You should be running Kanedy Productions at this point in your life, Balor. Not only is it your birthright, but you have several degrees from prestigious universities. You worked alongside your father for years, preparing yourself for just this sort of undertaking, and—" "That's not entirely accurate." Balor loathed arguing with his mother, but when she continually misrepresented the facts, he had to set her straight. "I was trained to run Dad's company, Kanedy Enterprises, so while I know a great deal about managing restaurants, I don't know the first thing about—" "You know more than enough," his mother said, and her words were dripping with vitriol. She squared her shoulders, then adjusted the emerald pin that was the only spot of color adorning her black dress. She'd taken to wearing the dowdy frock at least once a week, any time she was compelled to mourn her husband's passing. "Exceed, excel, survive," she whispered. "You're a Kane, my son, and that motto doesn't just represent your cousins, your uncle, or his company. It's your trademark, too, and—" "I know, Mom," Balor replied stiffly. "Dad drilled those words into my brain for years. Exceed, excel, survive, make my family proud." "And this is your chance," his mother continued. "Our future Your fortune was stolen from you the day your father left us.